Planetary, issue number 7. Jack Carter's dead. Good. Who's Jack Carter? Old friend of ours. Had serious connections in the occult underground. Real player in the 80s. The word, Snow, is scumbag. He was not. Well, maybe I'm biased. I wasn't sleeping with him after all. Coming to the funeral? What was he like? Jack Carter? Jack was everything you wanted London to be. All right, Squire. He was funny and smart and mysterious, and sexy and scary. You know what they say, if you're tired of London, you're tired of life. For me, Jack Carter was London. You could never get tired of him. And I'll miss him terribly. You're never what I expect, Jakita. He was our window on England in the 80s. Lots of strange stuff went on here, even without the costume stuff. Costumed? They were superheroes in England? Sure. Jenny Sparks ran a team here in the 60s, and again in the 80s. All went to hell, of course. I think there were some holdovers from that, too. One or two people wanting to do it right. You can never quite get rid of all the traditionalists, no matter how many condoms you sell. Jack let us in on that, and all the other stuff. One of these days, you pains in the backside will speak a complete sentence that I don't have to ask another damn question about. What other stuff? Well, come and meet them. There's the shifting man, fell out of a shift door wearing some kind of bleed suit in 85. Current incarnation of the forest deity. They've been British-based since the time of Robin Hood, apparently. None of them look exactly happy, even for a funeral. They're 80s people. Jack always said it was difficult for us Americans to understand what it was really like here in the darkest parts of the 80s. We had a doddery old president who talked about the end of the world a little too often, and was being run by the wrong people. But they had a prime minister who was genuinely mad. You know, there were even feminists and women's studies theorists who denied she was even really a woman anymore. She was so far out of her tree. She wanted concentration camps for AIDS victims, wanted to eradicate homosexuality even as an abstract concept, made poor people choose between eating and keeping their vote, ran the most shameless vote-grabbing artificial war scam in 50 years. England was a scary place. No wonder it produced a scary culture. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's 10 years difference between here and the culture that produced them, but don't they look faintly ridiculous? Probably. What doesn't look funny 10 years later? People bought flares, remember? Twice. The important thing is how they dealt with the time, and it was not the best of times. Jack told me a story. 1987. Some nights it never seems to get properly dark in London. Cloud comes over and blankets the town, and the orange glow off the streetlights suffuses it, so that London looks like it's trapped in amber, and us with it. And we all look up and nod like our mums and dads and parrot the old, well, it'd be cold without that cloud cover. And don't for a minute think about being sealed in London with no escape. The sky was black and orange when I left Mad Lindsay's gaff above the shoe shop in Carnaby Street. I didn't look back. I knew she'd have her chops pressed to the windows, screaming her guts out and pulling weird faces. Sealed in brick and glass. There was a rippling sound, like waves breaking. Just about audible from here above the taxis. It was her own stupid fault. Evil moo. I did me zip-up indiscreetly in front of a bloke of 300 collecting for the Salvation Army and made him give me 20 quid before angling off Carnaby into Beak Street, walking up into Soho's tangles. Christmas never does bugger all Soho. It's grey and doomed and hopeless and life-sucking all year round. Even the beautiful girls, new to the life, eager or calculating, add to the misery by implication. You know how their stories will end. I was just fancying a pint at the Coach and Horses when I saw a man who wasn't there. Oh, for God's sake, you can bloody see me, can't you? Afraid so, Squire, though I can tell I'm not supposed to. Oh, God, this gets bleeding worse, don't it? You're Jack Carter. Guilty as charged, Gov. And you would be? Well, you'll work it out anyway, I'm bloody sure. I'm this year's Herod. Do what? Herod. Kill the firstborn, get the baby, Jesus, all that. It's a job description, these days. And it ain't like jobs are easy to come by, is it? Suppose not. What brings you to dear old Soho a couple of days from Christmas, then? There's a prossy lives up the arse end of Greek Street. I've got to pay a visit, if you know what I mean. No, I don't know what you mean. Oh, come on. I mean, for all I know, it's all rubbish. But no one needs a second coming this year, do they? I mean, Downing Street, all that. She does a marvelous job, doesn't she? This prostitute. You're telling me she's pregnant? Pregnant with... Well, no one knows for sure, do they? But you know, better safe than sorry. I mean, no one knows what's best for us better than the Prime Minister, do they? I'm just a civil servant, government employee. I just do my job, because them higher up than me, they know better, don't they? It's bad enough I've just had to do something thoroughly bloody rotten to an old girlfriend because she tried to kill me, and most other people I know. But to bump into some bloody Tory civil servant spook off to butcher a complete stranger because she's inconveniently pregnant. And be thankful that's all I do to you, you toe rag. Bleeding Jakita. Giving it the big bleeding I am. All mouth and trousers.
Memorial service without a body. Terrible thing.
It was only a damn cremation, Snow.
Where are we going?
I want to see where Jack died.
Why?
God, I don't know. To say goodbye properly. A closed box in a rock doesn't cut it.
See?
Crap, Jakita. He was a con man who pulled a scam once too often. No one liked him, and eventually he pissed off someone who wasn't afraid of the spooky bad magician rep. Right here. Someone jumped him and beat him to death right here. That's all that happened. There's been magic here. Magic's a messy signal. Kinda loose and lossy. There's traces everywhere.
You can see magic?
Sort of. Magic's just signal, just information. And that puts it in my ball court. It's like, you've seen me playing computer games.
Yeah.
So you've heard me talking about cheat codes. Things that I can say to the computer that alter things in the game environment. Magic words. Magic is the cheat codes for the world, sending a signal to reality's operating system, see?
No.
What have you got, drums? Dunno. It's all over the place. I need to make it coalesce a bit before I can work out what it is. Snow, can you make it colder here? Might help it settle down and cohere. It's beautiful. It's worse than that.
If this is magic, if this trace or remains of the spell is what I think it is, the sneaky bastard faked his own death. No! No, I won't have it. I won't have it. I killed him. You had to die. You were the symbol of everything that had been done to me, you scum. I should have been noble, clean, single. I didn't want to wake up in Soho with 12 volumed-up Thai rent boys and terrible stains on my tights. You didn't have to take the damn photographs. I didn't want to find out that instead of getting my powers from a transcendent scientist mentor, I was grown from the DNA of Aryan super athletes and Hitler's personal sex midgets. I didn't even know Hitler had personal sex midgets. I liked my life. There was nothing wrong with me. I wasn't hip. I wasn't trendy. I wasn't edgy. And you know what? That was okay. I didn't need the split personalities, the nervous breakdown, the shift in sexual orientation, my life being a lie. If you didn't want me, you should have just bloody ignored me.
Evening, all. Jack. Hello, Jakita, love. I knew you'd do right by me. Oh, well, probably time I quit anyway. Why did you fake your own death? Hell, how? Well, it was fairly bleeding obvious that Chummy there fancied beating me to death for God only knows what reason. And since I could have done without that, well, I had to pull a bit of a stunt and then grow underground. He did seem a bit determined, after all. And if there's one thing I've gotten good at in 30-odd years above ground, it's disappearing. But when you turned up, everything changed. I knew you'd work out what happened. And so dragged that tow rag out into the light, so I could sort him for good. Not like I have a claim to be a role model, after all. The 80s are long over. Time to move on, love. Time to be someone else. Cheers. Be seeing you.